I am. Hey, there we go. Hey, Molly.
Hi. Well, I hope some more people join us. I saw like 5 RSVPs for today, which is more than we usually have.
Yeah. What are you drinking? It looks like volcanic ash or something
It's a smoothie.
with with some fun things in it. Tell me those are blueberries doing that or something.
Probably, yeah. It would be more purple, but I put spinach in it, so the spinach kind of like
Oh, all right. Yeah,
dulls the
Very good idea.
color. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almond milk and um cauliflower rice, which you can't even taste it. It's just an easy way to get
oh,
Oh
extra
yeah. I have a friend
vegetables.
who does that. She claims it's like you can't taste it at all.
You can't.
Hmm.
Berries, frozen berries, spinach, and then I have some powdered supplement things that I put in there and a scoop of almond butter and some cinnamon. And yeah,
well, all right. And clearly you've not dyed it because if you were to use an artificial dye, you would have changed the
that's
color.
right. I know
Oh God.
it doesn't look very appealing. I mean, it's like it's not like, oh my gosh, this is so good, but it's tasty enough to like get all the nutrients and supplements
Oh
that
no,
I'm getting.
that's a really good way to do that. So
Hmm.
I always make my smoothies. Like last night I made the kids smoothies, and they never like them. They never like them when I make them because I always just like make them a titch too healthy.
yeah,
Hmm.
that's the
Like,
problem. I need to make smoothies for your kids.
yeah. No, my husband does a better job, but he doesn't, try to sneak something actually healthy in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bananas and almond butter are healthy. Those would be two things
Yes.
that work in a smoothie.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not that it's not healthy. It's just always like all like all fruit and juice and not like, I tried to sneak like some spinach in there or something and
And that's
they can
that's
tell.
where
They can tell.
Well, I mean, the you can't taste the spinach, but what it does is it kind of like dampens the flavor of the berries. So
mm,
like it's not a very strong berry flavor. It just kind of like cancels out the other flavors is what I think anyway.
Mhm.
I
Smoothie
could
talk.
smoothie
Yeah,
talk.
now you're here, LaSalle. We've changed everything. Now we only talk about smoothies here.
Yeah, we're this is a
Yeah,
health and wellness
Yeah.
session.
yeah. It's been a busy day for me. Smoothies are about what I can talk about.
Well,
I will spare you any of my particular health food rants. So
Okay,
we'll
I
keep it
have
friendly.
one last health thing for you guys. I discovered it. I didn't even know it existed, but if you can find them in your market, buy it. Passion fruit, frozen passion fruit
yeah,
to
Mm.
die for, to die
yeah,
for.
yeah.
So I will say this about this is just one sentence from my rant is that our bodies are designed to eat what grows locally and in season.
You don't
Oh
think
gosh.
passion fruit grows
So
in Massachusetts?
Yeah.
I don't know what grows in Minneapolis.
Yeah, probably beef.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
in the
my
winter.
favorite thing to put in a smoothie.
Nothing. Oh, well, I think maybe one more person might join us. Carol, let me look at the RSVPs and then we'll get started. Yeah, Carol is RSVP to join, so we'll see if she does. I hope so because I haven't seen her for a while. So here we are. Barbara, you made it home.
Yeah.
How's your week going?
It's busy. It's good. It's busy. Yeah, it's been productive.
Oh, good.
I haven't had a chance really to do much. Like, it's almost like I had a writing hangover after AWP. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do much. This morning, I just put chapter titles in the novel. And that was about it.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, I haven't
I
done much. But yeah.
I certainly have been having a hangover myself since the trip. But Barbara and I could probably talk the whole session about AWP. So why don't we have check-ins from everyone else before we do that, so that we don't take over the whole time. Who would like to start?
Okay, I'll start.
Margaret.
First of all, I'm eager to hear about AWP. I was envious once I saw the photograph. So I'm very glad you all had time together and had a good time. The news I'm happiest about is that I am managing to make progress in new writing, which it feels really grounding and very good. So that's nice. Work for She Writes Pressed, I suspect, is going to heat up pretty fast or soon, because we're having a meeting tomorrow to talk about cover memo.
Ooh, yay!
And I will be, my friend Barbara has shared she shared her cover memo with me. Thank you, God, again, Barbara, thank you so much.
Oh,
I have
good.
to have a copy of it and go, see what Barbara did? Oh, wait, it's not your book, wait.
No, but see what Barbara did, because that you saw my cover, so yeah, that level of detail is what you need.
Oh,
And
yeah, I need to remind myself that I have this, I can do this, as opposed to, I'm not used to building the plane while I fly it. And I feel that I'm not only doing that with this publishing journey, but also am missing some critical tools. Like, you're in there going, oh, wait, engine would have been good. That should have been first, whatever. But it's, I'm doing it. And I got one nice bit of news today that a publicist who had been because now I'm rethinking hiring a publicist, who had been my very, very, very first choice, didn't take me on as a client because she was feeling that she had too many other projects that were going to be emotionally draining, about similar issues. And I had to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, all right, if things change.
Yeah.
So, well, guess what? My publication date's pushed back and maybe things have changed. And so I swung back around to her and she said, oh, send me the manuscript again. So that's nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so she's also a writer and it's Caitlin Hamilton, Barbara, if that's a name that means anything to you. And so we'll see what happens.
Good.
That's
Good.
all I have to say.
Okay.
Oh,
That
except
sounds
that
good.
I'm hearing frogs, so that's a sign of spring.
You're hearing frogs at
Yes,
home outside.
speakers. Yes, when I walk, they're very
Oh,
singing
love
up.
it. Nice. Good. We had a colder than expected time in LA, at least for me. I don't know. Barbara maybe was like not cold for you, obviously being from New York. But
it was spring. I was running around with no clothes on. Everybody else was freezing.
yeah, everyone from California was freezing, and I came home and it was still cold. So I mean, it is spring, but it's a cold spring, which is weird for us. So anyway, Molly.
Yeah, I'll share. So couple things going on. So I told you guys about my decision to just go hard on my Substack because that was like one thing I felt like I had control over. And also I'm finding it fun, and now that I've like gotten rid of my two of my little side gigs that were more energy and creativity draining than anything else. I'm finding I have a lot more energy to do this. So that's good. And so I like went into my stats actually on there, and I realized in the last 90 days, I've gained like 600 followers, which is different than subscribers. But
Yeah.
in the last 30 days or 90 days. And then 200 subscribers in the last 200 days. So that was like, okay.
That's like one subscriber a day.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that feels like really, yeah, it felt really good. And especially because I mean, a lot of this was going on before I decided I was really like committing to it. So it's just sort of a good reminder that, just like just continuing to work there and being more consistent. Like, there's no magic pill for doing any of this other than doing it. But that felt really good. I sent Jana a thing, you guys. I don't know. I kind of knew that Substack was doing this thing that's like they're a leaderboard. Have you heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think it's kind of new, but I got a message today that my Substack is number 40 like in trending humor publications. 40. So I was like, what does that even mean? So I clicked on it, and then the other people who are on there are like Dave Barry. Isn't he like he's like been a writer forever. And Adam Carolla, Bill Maher, they're all on the same list. And me.
Molly and the old white men.
I know.
I know.
Actually, Jenny Mullen's on there. She's
Oh.
a white lady. But anyway, I was like, I don't even know what that means, but I will take it. I will take it, and I will be very happy about that. So that was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I like in my mind, I do kind of consider myself more of like a humor writer. Which might be, I feel like this is like news to Jana because
No.
do you remember when we were in Tahoe and we did that reading at the house?
Yeah.
And I feel like you were like, it's like it's funny. It was funnier when I read it than when you
Yes.
read it.
Yes.
So I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about a little bit with like audio and things. I just feel like that might be my book might be a better I mean it'll be a good book, but audiobook probably better actually.
If you read it, you have
Yes,
to
if
read
I
it.
read it, and I would read it.
Well, it depends on whether your publisher lets you read it or not.
Well, they're gonna.
Authors have to audition to read their own audiobooks. Did you know that?
No, but I'm not worried about it. Is that wrong? Is that wrong?
No, not at all. No.
Do you know that I have a Stitcher award-winning podcast? I mean, not anymore, but I used to. I used
If
to be
you don't
cool.
have a contract yet, that's something that you can ask for in your contract.
Yeah. Yeah,
You-
and I
you're not-
think
Well,
I
it's
mean,
your audiobook rights are handled separately from your print book rights. So if your publisher is buying only print rights, your audiobook rights would be a separate contract. So yeah.
yes.
But
Well,
you could certainly ask your agent to talk to the publishers about that once
Yeah.
you're in that stage of conversations. Yeah.
yeah, I do feel like there's, most people either fall into the camp or they want to do it or they really don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll see. And speaking of podcasts, I've sent our old producer 2 emails now being like, hey, can I get access to our RSS feed on this podcast so I can move it over? And I still haven't heard back from her, which is why I stopped working with her because do I just
Do
do I
you have
attract
the-
ghosts or what?
Do you have the login to was it on Stitcher? Before?
No.
What's your host?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know because it's a whole long story,
Okay.
but the thing is that the contract I had with them is like whenever if I choose to take this over on my own or whatever, I can do that at any time. And she's like supposed to give me all the information, but the reason I stopped doing this podcast is because our producer stopped answering my emails for like 2 months, and then I don't know. It's just very annoying. So
Okay.
I don't know. The good news is I know like the main, like editor and I guess audio engineer that works with her. So I can just keep trying to get the information. But
You could go around her to that other person.
yeah, but I mean, I don't think she'll just give me the info I need, but I think she'll like help pick at this situation. It's very annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
I feel like you should be able to know, you should be able to get your RSS feed without, can't you just figure it out?
Well, I mean, I think I can, but the problem is what I want to, I mean, there's some sort of information I need in order to, because what I want to do is continue to have the people who have subscribed, right, to this podcast be able to have them continue to get the
They will.
newer updates.
They will.
But then if I can just go online and grab it, why couldn't I just hijack someone else's podcast or something and you know what I mean? Start delivering my podcast to their listeners. I mean, I would never do that, but
Yeah.
there's Barbara, I bet you have more information on this. Do you know things? I don't really understand what you do. But I feel like
Well,
podcasting part of it.
Spotify makes it, I'm not Spotify. Substack actually makes it really easy because that's what I did with my podcast. Like,
Yeah.
It literally was like drop the link, click a button, and everything came over. And then there's a redirect that you put in. I forget exactly where you put the new Substack link in as a redirect, maybe in the old host, so that everybody who's already subscribed now gets it because they're being redirected to the new feed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, all that happens on Substack. It was like literally one click, and everything just did what it was supposed to do.
So there's not like something on, it's not on Stitcher, it's on something else, but like something that you would need to log into the old account to bring it over. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you might need to put the redirect in the old account.
Yeah, that might be what it is. So,
but yeah, you don't have the login for that, is what you're saying.
no, I don't.
Okay.
Yes, because she set it all up.
That's frustrating.
Yeah, super frustrating.
I would reach out to that other person.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Okay.
Just like, just be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my next thing I'm working on. Just seems like if I can figure that out, then I would like to have that included just on my Substack because I already have
Yeah.
a listing audience there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely. And I was like so impressed by how easy it was because it brought over all the metadata, all the show notes, all the images. It was like literally so easy and everything was there. I was like, oh my gosh, Substack, you're awesome.
Amazing. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
look into that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just wish Twyla would get back to me. That's her name, Twyla.
Twyla. Come on, Twyla.
All right.
She doesn't
That's
even
fine.
have to do anything for you. She just needs to give you the login. Like, you can do it if you have the
I know.
login.
Well, I know. Yes, it was a very exciting thing. She started this awesome podcast network and had a lot of really great shows. And then everyone was like, where did she go? What happened? She like fell off the face of the planet and yeah. I don't know. She's around. It's not for me.
She just
Okay.
left all of her shows like high and dry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I don't really know. Anyway,
Okay.
blah blah. So that's all my updates. And by the way, one other thing, my agent has her own Substack and she had a really great post with lots of just information behind the scenes on promoting your book. And I thought she had a lot of really great points actually.
Cool.
So I can share that. I'll share that in the community. But
Yeah, share it.
good for everyone on here who's working on, who's like at that stage. So
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. That's me.
Cool. LaSalle.
Yeah. I mostly feel like I'm just in a waiting mode as far as anything to do with writing. I looked at my contract with the photographer, and it actually says she has 28 days to get me back the photos. So I hope she doesn't look and just thinks in terms of 2 to 3 weeks, because that's what she thought she had put in the contract.
Hmm.
Um,
How did the photo shoot go?
didn't I talk about that already?
I feel like the last time it was coming up.
You
In the
talked about the
retreat.
horses eating grass and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you,
the horses were a little crazy and it went well and she was nice.
okay.
Yeah, maybe I talked about it someplace else.
I
Like
think
maybe we had
definitely
a mini retreat or something.
at the
Oh,
mini
at the retreat.
Mhm.
Okay. That was Barbara's retreat.
my retreat.
So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd had it that morning, I think, LaSalle. You'd had the morning of the retreat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was
So two
very
weeks ago
fresh.
tomorrow or Saturday. So anyway, yeah, I'm just sort of mentally scattered. We are coming up. Tomorrow is a 1 year anniversary of Terry's stroke.
hmm.
So that's in the air. And I had a friend come visit last weekend, and we ended up getting to know each other better around the fact that she is 2.5 days younger than me, exactly, and
Oh,
almost
wow.
the same latitude. So, details of our personal histories, some of them were like totally parallel. It was just
Wow.
mind blowing,
Wow.
I can't even think of what it's called, but the Macrobiotic Institute in Boston. We were both sort of doing something there at the same time, didn't know each other. I mean, just real concrete details where we had made similar choices and been in similar places. It was
Interesting.
kind of freaky, a bit overwhelming. Um, and then yeah, I have list of deadline stuff and I'm not getting it until the last minute. Like I have some bills that I have to pay before midnight today, that kind of stuff. And that's how it is.
Hmm.
I don't know, just kind of weird.
Hmm.
So, because I know I can't finish, I guess I know I can't complete my next workbook without a cover. So that's, if I had a cover photo, then it's like, okay, I can really get the cover together and I need to finalize the interior stuff that I need to do.
Yeah.
But I sort of don't have to right now, so
Yeah.
not, it's just weird.
Yeah.
Weird. And
Yeah.
the thing is people not returning communications. Oh, that pisses me off so much.
I know.
So I have like a
It's
tree company that I want help with a tree that got damaged in the ice storm, which was a few months ago now. And it's like, they're a really good company. Why aren't they getting back to me? So
it's Mercury retrograde. Maybe that has something to do with it.
I don't care.
I know. I don't care either. I still don't quite really fully understand how or why that's a thing, but communication glitches, technology glitches, transportation weirdness,
Yeah.
all that stuff kind of seems to converge when people say it's Mercury retrograde. So I'm like, okay, it must be a thing, even though I don't really get it.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
just
You're in a
have to
little
go.
bit of a holding pattern.
Yeah. I feel some sadness underneath it too. So,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
But it's spring here in Virginia, and
Good.
that's nice.
Good.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay. Okay. All right, Barbara.
You want me to put my AWP button on? Like I have the button. I have
You
all
still have
the
your badge? Do you want
buttons. My badge is I don't think I can reach my badge without unplugging myself from my computer. Put our badge on. No, I do not want to put that thing back on. I
Okay.
felt like it tried to kill me a couple times. Yeah, I and Jana, I love it how like right after like the last minute I saw you, we were talking about like, oh yeah, AWP Baltimore. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I'm so exhausted. Like I'm so done. Like if we East Coasters need to get together, we'll do it on our own. We don't have to do it at AWP. Like forget it, you know. So
Do you think that's just temporary because you're like crashing or
yeah,
okay.
crashing, dealing with a little bit of a writing hangover, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was definitely, you know, yeah, I mean, it was boiling hot. I sweated every single day while I was there, except at the reading, which when I wore my New York coat, which was freezing.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it was great for me. It's like all the panels, I went to 4 panels. 2 of them were really good and 2 really sucked. Because it provides a forum. Those panels at least the 2 that sucked, even the 2 that were really good, provide a forum for a lot of belly aching, you know?
Yeah.
And
That's a great way to put it.
I was like, the 2 panels that I thought sucked opened up like, you know, held space for too much belly aching. And I'm beginning to realize I have a low tolerance for belly aching, especially because the 2, like I didn't even get, like they didn't even get to the topics. The reason I took those 2 panels was because I felt like, you know, half of it wasn't going to really apply and the other half was, and they didn't even get to the second half because they like opened up the floor to belly aching, which I was like, as much as I want to chalk it up to bad moderation, maybe they just feel like this is the audience or it's Mercury retrograde, because we can blame anything on Mercury. You know, it's Mercury's fault for everything. So, but I just kept, even in the bad panels, I just kept thinking, we're so far ahead here, you know, because we just don't dwell in our scarcity mindset. Like all of us, it's like everybody has just been moving forward despite, like, our belly aching is like not belly aching because it's justified needs for support, you know.
Yeah.
As a like we can all just support each other, and when we're stuck in something, it's like there's that you bring it to this forum and we will all figure out a way to get you through it, as opposed
Yeah.
to people just throwing their hands up and being like, if I heard the word can't one more time, I was like, I can't deal with it. I have to log out. You know? Like so there was that drama that I had to deal. My smugness, as my husband says, he's like, "Oh, your egotistical smugness, you know, came to the table." So, that was good. The 2 panels that were good were just introducing topics that I think were just unfamiliar to most writers, or they were very, you know, they were unfamiliar to the audience, and they were very attached to sort of current events and the current environment. So I think people were more willing to listen and ask questions that, you know, had kind of a broader scope and things like that. So,
Yeah.
and then walking around the book fair was dizzying. I think I'm traumatized from that. And I came back with like so many buttons and pins and toys, and I only bought 10 books. I had no problem getting everything back. My suitcase was not overweight when I had to go check, you know, I didn't check it actually, but you know, when I had to go weigh it for the carry-on. And yeah, and I made a bunch of new connections. And I also, and speaking of Substack, Molly, I got March. I need to post this. I need to post this. Maybe I'll do this tomorrow. In March, my Substack grew double-digit subscribers. I got 11 new subscribers.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I'm going to put out a note that it was a double-digit month, and a lot of them came from AWP, like literally on the site. You know, it's like I didn't need business cards. I could just show you know, like show my website, and then that made everybody, like, that people found me on Substack, found me on all the social media. So it tells me my landing page for my website is good, you know. So yeah, that was that. Hopefully I'll sleep and get caught. I feel like I'm still catching up from, And I slept while I was there, and I've been sleeping okay since, but it's just like, yeah, I just very much having that AWP hangover.
Hangover. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm having a hangover too. Well, when the hangover passes, maybe you'll get reinvigorated to convince all of us to go to Baltimore. It's in Baltimore next year.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were there, Barbara was very excited to get everyone there for AWP next year and rent a house and all stay together.
Nope.
So now she says no.
If we're renting a house to all stay together, it'll just be us, a nice little retreat. It's like it will not be centered around AWP and that madness.
Okay, well, we'll
Do you-
see.
do you
We'll
have the
see if you
dates? Do you have the
yes.
dates here?
Yeah, it's the 4th. I think it's the 4th. Hold on.
Yeah, it's like March 5th through the 4th through the 7th.
4th through the 7th.
March?
Yeah.
March. Mm-hmm.
March.
Well, so the conference for attendees technically doesn't start until Thursday, but if you come in on Wednesday, you can register, and then you don't have to register on Thursday. So
Okay.
Wednesday is the day that it's like book fair set up for exhibitors. So
Thank you.
yeah.
I
Well,
did.
Barbara, go ahead.
I was going to say I did get a newfound respect for literary magazines and journals, because aside from From Under the Gum Tree and Hippocampus and the Rumpus, I was like, I don't know anything about literary journals. So not only did I come back with a stack of cards and buttons, and I don't know, somebody gave me a domino and notes and it's like, I don't know what kind of junk I have stacked behind my computer. But I'm like, well, maybe finally I can start to I think I finally cracked the way I need to do submissions to literary journals. And that's I have one piece that I had submitted to a contest for the Rumpus, which I think they announced that the winners in September. So I'm like, okay, between now and September, I'll just keep submitting that piece. And I'm also going to write a second piece that I was attempting to do. This is what I was writing on the plane to and from LA, was supposed to be a Substack for yesterday. That I yesterday morning at 6:45, I was like, okay, no, this is actually not for Substack. This is why this is so hard for me to write. This is a standalone, longer piece. So I'll go ahead and write that as an essay and start submitting that. And then if, September rolls around and I don't win the Rumpus contest and don't get placed anywhere else, then I'll just put it up on Substack is what I'm going to do for both of those pieces. So I was had been trying to figure out because I had never really done much submission before. I submitted a few pieces, extracts from the memoir. But I just always felt like it was almost like a separate job. It's like, this is a different job. And this
is a little bit.
This is someone who, this is for someone who reads a lot of literary magazines and literary journals, and now I've decided, well, if I only have 2 pieces, that makes it a lot easier for me to be like, oh, you do hybrid work. Well, that's not what I do. Oh, you're looking for personal essays about food. Oh, that I have. Oh, you're looking for a personal essay about coffee. Oh, that I have too. It's like having the idea of having 2 pieces kind of in submission for a 6-month window, and then it goes up on Substack, brought peace to my soul. It was like, oh, good, I have solved this. This is the strategy I need, rather than reading a submission and being like, gosh, should I write something for it? It's like, no, you don't need to do one more thing. You need to, you need to deal with this differently. So that was good. I don't know. I just came away being very smug. I'm like, we're so good. We're ahead of the game. Jana's set us all up for success, so.
Thank you, Barbara. That means a lot. And it's true. Unfortunately, there is a lot of belly aching and scarcity mindset. There was a meetup for memoirists happening at the same venue right before my event that I attended. And I met this woman with a book published, and she had a copy of it in her bag, and she pulled it out and showed me. And she was like, yeah, but and it came out in 2020, and she's like all kind of like ho hum and like sad that it came out in 2020 because it was the pandemic year, and so she didn't get to do book events around it, around the launch. And I said, oh, well, who's the publisher? The publisher's Red Hen Press, which is like one of the better known independent presses. And I was like, oh, that's great. She's like, yeah, but, blah, blah, blah. She's like, just really like down on it. And I said, well, 2020, that means this year you could have a 5-year book. You could have a 5-year birthday party for your book. And she was like, oh, suddenly she was like, oh, there's this like new way to kind of like think about it and inject new life into the book and go ahead and have an event. After all, who cares that it's been 5 years? Call it a 5-year birthday party, So I'm saying that to say, yes, Barbara, there's a lot of belly aching. And that's one of the things that I try really hard for you guys is to coach you into a mindset that is going to set you up for success and move forward. And you all are like, yeah, you're doing it, and you are different from the majority of folks out there. So we'll see what happens next year, I guess, if we're all going to go or not. Molly, it sounded like you were interested.
Oh gosh, I'm very interested. I always feel like I just hear about things too late or something, but
Yeah.
that's like my own thing. Also, like sometimes I just feel so out of the loop on I just feel like I'm always I have a lot to learn is what I think. I mean, I feel like I know a lot more than a lot of people. I've had people ask me like, how do you publish a book or whatever? I just, I'm not hanging out with a lot of, aside from you guys, people in the writing world. So I don't know. Sometimes I miss things, and that is okay. But yeah,
stick with us, because I just like 90% of people in the writing world are just, I'm like, wow, you guys are, we need to come up with some sort of like Prozac for writers. It's like,
oh my gosh,
like, you guys are a bunch of downers. It's like, here,
yeah.
Have something, I don't know, like an aromatherapy. Here, spray this. I think I'm gonna have to wear some sort of like happiness perfume or something next time I go to a big writers event and just be like, yeah.
Well, this is like,
get it.
When I shared that top link in the chat, so that is Amanda, who is my agent's post. I will say it is very long and not easy to read format wise, but so I think that she is just really cool and comes into the whole writing world from a different angle. So she was a publicist for 20 years or something, and then wrote her own book that came out, I believe, also in 2020, or something around there. And she was like, she just really felt unsupported by her publisher and felt like she didn't really know what was going on or how to market her book or like what was gonna, what her publisher was gonna do for her. And so she brings more of like a marketing and PR lens to publishing, and I think it is much more positive and outside of the box thinking, because I do think that if you start getting into like these little pods of people who are frustrated, and I get it. I get frustrated too because I feel like what writing is a lot of times is just a huge amount of energy that you're sending out without getting a lot back immediately. It's like you're doing all this for an eventual payoff, and sometimes when things like aren't getting traction or you just feel like you're spinning your wheels, you're like, "Oh my God, maybe I should just be I don't know, working at Costco or something. I don't know, like with my time. It's just yeah, it can get hard. And then you have people who have just always been in the industry who aren't having new ideas because they've just kind of like grown up in that world. So
Right.
I thought she had a lot of really great ideas there. And Jana, like what you just said, a fifth birthday party, that sounds like exactly something she would say,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I think there's I think, and Molly, exactly what you just said about like people who have been in the industry and they just have no idea, they have no new ideas. And for someone like your agent, for someone like me, I have been in the industry a long time, but I also have been in other industries simultaneously.
Mhm.
So, I come to the literary publishing world from the commercial magazine world, and I come to the publishing world from content creation, like internet famous content creation management, and I come to everything else that I do with a little bit more of an entrepreneurial mindset. I've just always been somebody who is like, I'm going to do this. This is the thing that I want, and it doesn't exist. So I'm going to create it. Like, I think that's intrinsic in me from my family heritage. My father, my grandfather, they've all been self-employed their whole lives. So it's always been this like kind of can do, like everybody dig in and figure out how to create the thing that you want. And unfortunately, in the writing world, it's almost the opposite, because there's this nostalgia and romanticism around the way that the industry used to work. And we're talking literally like 100 years ago, when when editors at the publishing house could have relationships with and nurture the career and the development of a writer's work over time. Well, just by sheer volume, editors at publishing houses can't do that anymore. So hence why we have agents, hence why we have book coaches, and authors a lot of times are resistant to doing the things that are required for the industry today because they don't think it should be that way anymore. They want it to still be the way it used to be, unfortunately. Margaret.
Well, I was just going to say, I think the other thing to remember is that that group of closeted writers in the, for us here, they were all white men. Let's be clear about that. Most part.
Right.
The other thing I just want, if people are interested in AWP, and I did go to Philadelphia, and because I lived there then, by far and away, having dinner with Jana was the best part of it, because it was also, it was post-COVID and they still weren't over it, and was just, it was not an experience I would repeat.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're interested in learning more about AWP, you can be a member. I just signed up again because I didn't realize I hadn't, for $140 for 2 years. You get the Chronicle, which is not bad, but it also will give you some sense of their culture. But remember, it's the Association of Writing Programs. These are academics. This is a big group it's very insular. It's huge, but it's very insular.
Right.
And I agree there's a little bit of, there's certainly exceptions. There's some wonderful writers who show up, but it's, there's the people who, for one better reason, they drank the Kool-Aid, they're serving the Kool-Aid, and it's, it's very inbred.
Right.
So
it is.
There's certainly the average person is not someone with Jana's background or Barbara's background, or, it isn't that it's not worthwhile, but it is a very particular culture.
Right.
I got told I got introduced to somebody else at a table. I was paused at a press table. The person who was behind the table for one of the small presses, another person came up. I had been chatting with the person behind the table. Another writer came up, and the person who was behind the table introduced me as a writer with an extroverted shell who's not afraid of technology. And I was like, and then I was like,
which is not normal in these circles.
Which is basically a unicorn. So
Yeah.
Here we go, Jana. Now I got an assignment for you. The Association of Writing Disruptors, AWD. I think that's what we need. It's like you, Don, Brooke Warner, and maybe 2 other people. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I
You know,
should
it's-
say that Brooke Warner does not go to AWP. She writes press, has never been there, and they don't intend to go.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. I wonder why. I need
I
to meet this
know.
woman. She's based in Northern California, for crying out
Yeah.
loud. How have I never met this woman?
Well, right now she might still be in Iceland for all I know, but
She's back in Oakland. Yeah. She's back.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't, she's, I'm sure it would make an interesting conversation. I do understand, I was kind of glad to hear that. So I was like, oh, good, I'm not missing you then. I mean, there's some great people like Sue Williams-Silverman,
Yeah.
Jen,
Yeah.
had on your thing. So she's
Yeah.
at a panel almost every year at AWP.
She is. And
But
she
you have-
camps out at the VCFA booth.
Yeah, she does. So
Yeah.
there's some really great programs there, but it's almost like you need, you need to have a strategy, as you said to everybody. And remember, it's like some of you have asked about literary journals. Well, those are the only places I've ever submitted. So it's really, they might make it sound like it's this complicated process. It's not. It's just a very annoying process because you can have a journal sit on your work for 2 years, and then you get something back that goes, sorry, it's just not a right fit. And,
Yeah.
but it's, if you don't subscribe to Duotrope, that's also like $50 a year. And you
Mhm.
can, I just track it for, I have it for nonfiction and poetry, and then once a month, or maybe it might even be once a week, I don't know. I get like here journals calling for submissions.
Yeah.
Here paid, here unpaid, and then you can just go to the site and say, oh, here are
Mhm.
some good ones, it's,
And Chill Subs is another newer
yeah.
site just with a database for publications seeking submissions.
Yeah. I love them. Chill
Yeah,
Subs is
I like
great.
them too. And they're a little more
Chill.
Jill?
no, chill, yes, but also like modern, I guess. Duotrope is great. It just kind of does one thing and it only does that thing.
Yeah,
And Chill
right.
Subs they're very like they're new. I think they're run by a younger team of people, and they're constantly evolving, you know?
Yeah, that is interesting. Well, that's good to know because I'll check that out because I feel like the reason I want to go to AWP is actually just because I feel like based on where I live and also maybe the kind of writing I do, I just feel like a little isolated. Like Minneapolis has writers and stuff. I just feel like there's a lot of really like really literary writers here
Yes.
that are like we have The Loft. Are you familiar with The Loft?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Grub
I've
Street
taken a
in
class
Boston.
there. What?
It's like Grub Street in Boston.
Yeah. And so I've taken a class there and I was like, all y'all are real snobby. And
Yeah.
I kind of like am craving a little bit of a networking kind of environment. I'm a good
Yeah.
networker. And yeah, and then the other thing with literary magazines is sort of similar where I'm like, I've submitted to lots of them and I just feel like my writing is not a good fit or something.
Okay, I have a couple thoughts.
Yeah.
First and foremost is one of the reasons AWP remains like the kind of the pillar of the writing world, if you will, is it's the biggest. Okay? So like there were 10,000 people there in LA. And for Under the Gum Tree, it was probably our best ever conference. Like I got twice as many email signups to my list. I made twice as much money. Our our event was the biggest event we've ever had. There were 180 people. And when we do the event, it's nonfiction exclusive because it's a nonfiction only event. So everyone who comes are all nonfiction people. So it's the biggest one we've ever had. So, you know, like what Barbara was saying, like, I don't want to go to Baltimore. I don't want to go to Baltimore either. But then it comes around and it's closer and it's like, okay, well, I probably will end up going because there isn't anything else that provides that, what's the word? That confluence of people doing what I'm doing and who are interested in what I'm doing. Like there's no other place or event where I will get that confluence. So there's that for AWP. In terms of networking, like that's also a great opportunity at AWP. And the binders, Margaret just mentioned that binders group on Facebook. I don't ever use Facebook, so I never go to the group, but they had a meetup. The meetup that I attended before our event at AWP was the Binders of Memoir, like the Binders Full of Memoirists meetup. And so that was like an opportunity to connect with these other women who are also writing memoirs, some of them published, some of them not. And then the sheer abundance. I think it's really interesting, that dichotomy between this scarcity mindset that is so pervasive and this conference where you go and there's just like this sheer abundance of opportunity. Like there are so many publications, there are so many presses. There, like, how could you not attend a conference like this and be like, oh, there is something for me here? And yet these writers don't, for whatever reason. So LaSalle, I saw that you asked about Lyra. I think I don't want to jinx it, but she visited a publisher who's looking for memoirs from women. And I haven't heard any outcomes of that, but it's a perfect illustration of like someone like her who's been really struggling, really wanting to find a publisher. And she goes to an event like AWP and has for the first time ever, this abundance of opportunity to be able to, in one place over just 3 days, like walk around and talk directly to these people and ask them what they're looking for. And now have like be infused with a new round of places to send her book that she didn't have previously, you know? And she was there with her daughter and her daughter had a reading and I think it was just a very special experience for her overall. So it was great. It was great to see her and hang out with her. So that was my one big thing about AWP. And then secondly, the one of the editors from Fourth Genre is also involved in this other conference. I just put the link in the chat called Nonfiction Now, which is happening in June this year at Notre Dame, which is close for you, Molly. Close-ish, Midwest. And it's kind of a big deal because they only do this conference like every other year, and every other conference, it's not in the United States. So it's only in the United States like every 4 years.
I went to it once. At the University of Iowa, and it's and that's who started it actually. I think was the director of the University of Iowa, Robin Hemsley, I think.
Robin Henley, yeah.
Henley,
and he's still involved.
It can be a great conference. I mean, it's sort of like AWP light in that it's
very light.
You know,
it's very light because it's only nonfiction, and nonfiction is still the smallest of all the literary genres.
But that makes you've already, that people have self-selected.
Right.
Does anyone want to go?
I mean, I would
see if Susie will go with me.
Yeah, Susie might go.
Okay.
Listen, I would consider it, but here's my problem this year, and I'm so upset because the timing of it is just sucking. Jeremy and I are going on vacation to London from May 22nd to June 4th. And this conference is on June 11th. So I really don't think I can come home and go to another event after that.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to miss it
But
probably
you would
this year.
normally go. You would normally.
I probably would go. The last time it was in the US, it was in, well, maybe not. I went once when it was in Arizona, and that was like 2018, I think. I don't know if there's been another US conference since then. Margaret, when was it in Iowa that you went?
I went a long time ago because I had a book that I'd co-edited coming out, and
Okay.
I want to say 2000. Oh my God, it might have been like 2009.
Okay. Okay.
It was, but it was a good,
So,
it was a good conference. It was, I mean, it was, you know, it was serious certainly, but it was,
yeah.
host-
So I'm just sharing that because it's exclusively nonfiction. It's not going to be in the States again for another 4 years. And if it's like something, Molly, if you're like craving that like networking opportunity and you don't want to wait a year for AWP, this would be another good option.
All right. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hey, Eleanor, my way to that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when I do things that scare me.
When I was like reading their about page, and I didn't realize this about them until I was like actually looking at their about page, but they specifically say, it's for people with an interest in the art of nonfiction storytelling in all its forms, from literary and political essays and memoir to reality TV. So like it's not exclusive to just literary writing.
Great. Music to my ears.
Yeah. Yeah. And the keynotes this year are Camille Dungy, who wrote the book Soil, and Kiesi Limon. And there's one other person, I think, who I don't remember their name. But it would be a really great conference. I'm just not sure I can personally pull it off by returning from international travel and then a week later going to a conference.
with a 9-hour time difference.
Well,
And
exactly.
also, yeah, like you
Hey,
more than 9.
your best and
Yeah. Yeah. Which I'm bummed about, but this is the reality of my life. So the
I
other
don't
thing
know.
that
You're going to
What?
London. That's not so bad.
I know we're visiting our best friends, and Margaret, we might spend 3 or 4 days in France.
Oh, we must speak about that.
Because we can't decide if we should do Paris or wine country.
Okay, we should talk about that then.
Okay.
I want to listen in. I want to
Yeah, absolutely. Paris. Yes. Oh, don't get me started. We'll be speaking this evening still.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would love to talk about that.
Okay.
Barbara, anybody who wants to join would love to talk about that. Yeah.
I just want to listen.
Maybe I should, Margaret, let's plan a writing retreat in France.
There we go. I will be in France when you're in London, I think.
You're kidding.
When are you going?
We're going the 22nd through May 22nd through June 4th.
Of this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll be there.
Like at the end of May.
No, I will be in France.
Oh, okay. Well, then maybe we'll have to meet up in France.
We might have to talk about that, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, the final thing I want to say about AWP is a little personal story, because this is the other type of thing that happens at conferences like this. And Molly, you're talking about like putting out so much energy without immediate return. And I just, honestly, for the first time in how many years have I been in this world? I started the magazine. I started Under the Gum Tree in 2011. So it's been 13, almost 14 years. And this was the first time that I felt like I had arrived, and I'm using that word in air quotes kind of loosely, but like I was walking around the conference and people know who I am and they were recognizing me. And, like I said, we made twice as much money. There were twice as many people at the event. Like those those milestones were really big deals for me because for the sake for exactly what you were saying, like I've been putting out so much energy for so long, feeling like the returns are so minuscule and so incremental, but like I love this work so much. I love this magazine so much. I love the writers that we publish so much, and that's the thing that keeps me doing it, even when I feel like the return isn't what I would hope or expect it to be. And one of the readers for our event was Laura Julier. You may or may not recognize that name, but she is the former editor of Force Genre, which is one of the other nonfiction journals that we partner with on this event. And I think I mentioned this before I left, that this particular event in LA is kind of a full circle moment because the first ever joint event that I did was with Force Genre the last time AWP was in LA in 2016. And so we were like having this kind of little full circle moment, and we were at the same venue that we were at in 2016. And Laura, she's no longer the editor at Force Genre, but she was published in Under the Gumtree and featured as one of our readers. And she had a book that was just released as the winner of the River Teeth Book Prize, when the River Teeth is another one of the nonfiction journals that we partner with. And so I have this relationship with Laura that I have now been building for 9 years, and I didn't even really know her that well when I reached out to her and said, hey, I want to do this. Do you want to partner with me? And she was like, okay. She just kind of like said yes, Well, Barbara, this happened after you left our booth on the last day. It was literally like maybe the last 20 minutes of the book fair. Laura came around to my booth, really to just say hi and thanks for the great event and goodbye, see you next time, whatever. She moves on and was looking for one more person to talk to who was on our same row. And so she went just like a couple booths down to do whatever she was going to do over there. Then after a few minutes, she comes back to me and she says, hey, do you have a book in you? And I said, well, yeah, I have this memoir I've been trying to get representation for. And she said, okay, but like a craft book, like a book for writers. And I said, well, yeah, I just recently started thinking about maybe doing something as a craft book for writers. And she literally takes me by the hand and like pulls me over to this other booth that she was talking to. It's the publisher, it's Bloomsbury. And she introduces me to the acquisitions editor at that booth. And Molly. And so I told her what I was working on, and she said, yeah, I would be interested in talking to you about that. Here's my email. And so now there's not only an agent potentially interested in this book that I still don't really know what it is, but potentially an editor at a press. And so I'm sharing all of that to share that it does take time, but there is payoff. Like if we keep showing up and we keep putting in the work, it does pay off and it gets easier. Like you guys know that this book is like, I don't even know what this book is and people are interested in it. Like how is that? How compared to I have a complete manuscript, I was querying agents for a year, like the dichotomy of like how much is just coming through and manifesting for this book that is like, what is this thing compared to the memoir is like, it's kind of improbable, but that's the return. Like I am getting a return for all of my efforts. It's just, I'm right on time. I'm right on time 14 years later.
The other thing that this is making me think of, it's like when I was explaining to you how I'm like, oh, I'm going to put effort into my Substack, but it's the feeling of looking back and seeing how far you've come
Yeah.
versus looking at the distance you still need to go.
Right.
And yeah, like how all of a sudden I was like, wow, actually,
Yeah.
yeah, everything's growing. Everything's way better than I expected.
Totally.
And just thinking about what you've accomplished already is like
Right.
such a good reframe.
Right.
Mhm.
And, it's a big reason why I emphasize celebrating with you guys, like pausing, acknowledging, celebrating, so that we don't feel like there is no return, because there is a return. Yeah. So who knows, you guys, I might have a book contract soon, and maybe this book will be out in a year from now.
It will. I will have pre-ordered my copy and a couple extra copies.
And then
Okay,
we
thank you.
don't need to do Baltimore in 2026 because we're coming to your book launch in Napa.
Well,
In Napa.
I mean, that's just the thing. If I have a book by next AWP, then I really have to be there.
Mhm.
Because if it's a book for writers, that book will sell at AWP, you know? So, well, we'll just see what happens in a year, won't we?
Mhm.
All right, my dears. Wonderful, wonderful as always to see you. Thank you for your time. It's good to see your faces. We'll talk again very soon.
All right. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.